Judges 14 opens with Samson's request. He wants to marry a Philistine woman. This request was not just a simple desire, but a significant and controversial decision. In those times, the Philistines were not just any people. They were the oppressors of Israel, a constant source of conflict and tension. Marrying a Philistine was not only unusual, but also strictly forbidden by the cultural and religious norms of the Israelites. This was unusual, even forbidden. The Israelites were expected to marry within their own community to preserve their cultural and religious identity. Samson's choice was a direct challenge to these expectations. The Philistines were Israel's oppressors, their cultures clashing. The tension between these two groups was palpable, and any union between them was seen as a betrayal. Samson's parents objected, but his heart was set. They could not understand why he would choose a woman from their enemies. But Samson was determined. His parents' objections were rooted in their fear and their adherence to tradition. This desire, though seemingly driven by Samson's own will, was part of God's plan. It was a divine orchestration that went beyond human understanding. God often works in ways that are mysterious and beyond our comprehension. God used even Samson's flawed choices to bring about his purpose. Despite the apparent disobedience, there was a greater plan at work. Samson's actions, though imperfect, were instrumental in the unfolding of God's will. Samson's marriage would become a catalyst, a spark to ignite conflict with the Philistines and ultimately bring about their downfall. This union, fraught with tension and opposition, set the stage for a series of events that would lead to significant changes. It reminds us that God works in mysterious ways, even through our imperfections. Our flaws and mistakes can still be used for a greater purpose, and what may seem like a wrong turn can be part of a divine plan. On his way to Timnah, Samson encountered a young lion. Filled with the Spirit of the Lord, he tore the beast apart with his bare hands. This feat of strength was a display of God's power working through him. Later, he found honey within the lion's carcass. This event inspired Samson's riddle at his wedding feast. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. The lion, a symbol of obstacle and danger, was overcome. From its defeat came sweetness, represented by the honey. The Philistines, unable to solve the riddle, resorted to trickery. They threatened Samson's wife, coercing her into revealing the answer. Betrayed and enraged, Samson retaliated with violence. He struck down 30 Philistines, leaving a trail of bloodshed. This act of revenge highlights the destructive cycle of betrayal and violence. Samson, though wronged, responded with disproportionate force. His actions, fueled by anger and hurt, brought further suffering. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked rage. Though flawed, Samson's life foreshadowed Jesus. His immense physical strength mirrored Jesus' spiritual power over sin and death. Samson's weakness for women pointed towards the betrayal Jesus would face from Judas. The lion Samson defeated prefigures Jesus' victory over Satan on the cross. The honey from the carcass symbolizes the sweetness of salvation found in Christ's sacrifice. Samson's riddle, unsolvable by human wisdom, reflects the mysteries of God's plan, revealed through Jesus. Samson's story, though set in the Old Testament, offers profound insights into human nature and divine purpose. His life is a tapestry of strength and weakness, triumph and failure, all woven together by the hand of God. He was a flawed hero, driven by desires and prone to mistakes. His impulsive actions often led to dire consequences, yet his story is not one of despair, but of redemption. Yet God used him mightily to deliver his people from their enemies. Despite his shortcomings, Samson's strength was a gift from God, a symbol of divine power working through human imperfection. His life, with its triumphs and tragedies, points towards the ultimate hero, Jesus Christ. Samson's final act of destroying the Philistine temple, even at the cost of his own life, foreshadows the sacrificial love of Christ. We see in Samson's story reflections of Jesus' strength, sacrifice, and ultimate victory over sin and death. Just as Samson lifted the city gates, Jesus bore the weight of the cross for humanity's salvation. Though Samson met a tragic end, his life reminds us that God can use even imperfect vessels for his glory. His blindness and chains symbolize the consequences of sin, yet his final victory points to the hope of redemption. His story invites us to reflect on our own lives, our weaknesses, and the greater hope found in the one who overcomes all. In Samson's legacy, we find a powerful reminder of God's grace and the promise of new beginnings. Are you ready for the next chapter? Just click here to go straight to it.